What's up, everybody? It's the BKBK podcast, where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Brian Taylor, Kerry Taylor, and hopefully we'll see Captain Kyle McKenna. You know, he is indisposed, as they say right now. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So maybe he will, maybe he won't, but it's all good. We got it all covered over here. So we are 7 games into the NFL season, as far as the New York Jets are concerned, and they're 4-3. All right, they're 4-3, and in those 7 games, there have been tons of stories and storylines and topics of conversation throughout the entire New York Jets landscape. So, what I'm going to ask us, and for every one of you out there in the audience, can you put your finger on it? All right, what is or should be the main topic of conversation? There's a plethora of things out there. There's Aaron Rodgers. There's the offensive line. There's the defense. There's the trade deadline. There's injuries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, we have a lot to talk about. So let's talk about it and be about it. All right?
That's right.
So, yeah, man. So let's take that one. You know what I mean? We have a few acts in this show, but I want to take that one that I just kind of briefly introed. You know, what's the storyline that we should be focusing on, or, you know, is kind of like the most important thing that should be talked about? You know, sometimes it's right in front of your eyes and sometimes it's not. And sometimes the things that are not in front of your eyes could be the most important. You know what I mean? So it looks like Kerry wants to kind of start this one off. So, Kerry, I'll defer to you, man. Like, what's up, man?
I mean, there's a myriad of things that have put the Jets where they are right now. And I don't think after the initial, sort of setback, which was Aaron Rodgers, tearing his Achilles.
Sure.
I don't think that most of the pundits would have predicted that after week 8 we would be 4-3.
Yeah,
the Jets would be 4-3.
I feel like B should have put extra emphasis on the fact that we are 4-3. He kind of glossed over that a smidge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just a little bit.
You know, surprising a lot of people, including myself. I wouldn't have thought that the Jets would have been 4-3.
Of course.
At this stage, you know, given the circumstances.
I thought we were in the dungeon. No way. You're right about that.
Absolutely. But, you know, after week 1, winning against the Bills and, beating some quality opponents, including the
Eagles.
The Eagles.
Best team in the league, by the way.
At the time, absolutely.
And now we beat them.
Putting up a formidable, sort of effort for the Chiefs. We haven't been blown out of any game, right? But we have had significant setbacks. We've had a offensive coordinator that I didn't really have a lot of confidence in being able to craft an offense that would allow Zach Wilson to flourish, right?
Okay.
You're kind of being a thunder stealer, you know.
Well,
but,
no, I'm not gonna steal your thunder. I'm just
like
naming the issues. Naming the issues. That's
yeah.
one of them. And you know, the Zach Wilson playing less than what he is capable is another factor in that. But I feel like the largest factor in all of these is the offensive line and their inability to protect him, or their inability to move the ball in terms of having a formidable rushing offense. And when you have a inexperienced quarterback, inexperienced play caller, what you do is you lean into your, rushing attack. And if the last game wasn't evident of the fact that we haven't had a great ability to rush the ball, I don't know what was, right? We have a beast at running back. We have a potential all-pro running back. But we can't, outside of, sort of large runs, that to me, he has been, the main reason that those large runs have occurred. It's not like, our offensive line has been killing people because, we're on our, third center We're on our,
Sure.
you know, we've lost our potential All-Pro right guard at Vera Tucker. We lost our left tackle, put our right tackle at left tackle. We lost the second guard that was backing up Vera Tucker at Schweitzer.
I can't even keep up with what you're talking about right now.
You know, we lost
we
lost our second round pick at Joe Tipman for a while, who
Might
was
be back,
playing
though.
who was actually at a time was our best offensive lineman in terms of rating. So, but when you factor all of those things in, you still see that Zach Wilson is not the problem per se in terms of why we haven't been able to significantly move the ball on offense. He has made some good plays in stepping up into the pocket. He has held the ball, but at the end of the day, if you got 4 drops on, 24 attempts and you complete, 17 or 12 of those attempts, which you could have completed if the other drop balls were caught, you can complete 16. He could have easily passed for 300 yards the last game.
No, 100%.
Right,
and we were there getting moist
drenched
during
I heard
during the game. Me and Brandon were there, and so I didn't feel like, to your point, that after the game that it was Zach's. We were about to leave the game, right? Brandon and myself were right at the exit, and when Zach took that sack, it was like, this game is over with. The Giants basically gifted us with a W and turned our drive home into a pleasant one and even a optimistic one, as opposed to how it would have ended. But I didn't feel at all watching that game, and I had to remember, I'm drenched, like every stitch of my clothing is wet right now. and this guy's trying to play football, and he's putting the ball in places where Lazard should have caught. He had at least 2 of those drops, right? In order to have third down completions or whatever else to move the change. We didn't get that done. I didn't feel like Zach was the problem on offense, right? Ultimately, in that game, he did have the sack that he took, and he shouldn't have taken that sack.
Yeah,
but I
you
mean,
can make that mistake. They make. He's a young quarterback. You make those kind of mistakes.
Correct.
We weren't saying the same thing about now. Again, he's in the Kansas City game when who's the Kansas City quarterback?
Mahomes.
When Mahomes, made some poor plays, we weren't lambasting him about the poor plays. And I don't know how many times I watched him do this. My fault. My bad. Right. So holding on to the ball too long. But again, I'm not comparing the two. But what I'm saying is that, we don't point out those things when you
occurred. Win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I get that. But what I'm saying,
touchdowns.
yeah, but my point is that those types of plays happen, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to get on his receivers for making drops, and his receivers in Kansas City have had significant inopportune drops.
Absolutely.
And our receivers on the Jets have had inopportune drops at inopportune times.
Yeah.
And it's not factored into the evaluation process when when it's constantly impressed upon the general public that it's all of what's going on is Zach Wilson's fault. And I say no. I think the biggest problem is our offensive line, and then our offensive coordinator.
I feel like Zach is not the problem. If you look at his past 5 games, I believe he's only thrown 1 interception.
But I still don't think he's the solution. I will say that. He's
right.
not the problem, but he's not the solution.
Right. But he hasn't been. I mean, and he's actually won us some games too. So he's part of the.
Yeah. We don't win the Giants game. Let's put it out there. We don't win the Giants game without Zach.
That's true.
We don't. The passes that he made
at the end of the game,
we do not win.
And in overtime.
Exactly. And in overtime, we do not win that game without Zach throwing those balls.
Right. But I'd say even more importantly, it's really the storyline. It should be revolved around Nathaniel Hackett, because with the what he brought over a lot of baggage with him from his tenure over there in Denver, and then he brings it over here, okay, and doesn't come over here with the good name. They figured Aaron Rodgers would be the cure-all for everything. So He kind of comes over. You might have a quip or two like, oh, what's he coming over here for? Oh, it's because Aaron Rodgers loves him. And then they're like, okay, fine. And then they pet the dog. It's all good. It's soothing. It's fine because Aaron Rodgers is the great Aaron Rodgers. And, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer and he can correct all the issues.
Right.
Then Aaron goes down and then all of these different things just light up. We realize that our offensive line isn't that good. We realize that Nathaniel Hackett isn't that good. We realize things like, we never go in motion. But here's the thing. They
right.
see that Aaron Rodgers doesn't like that much motion in his offense. So now Nathaniel Hackett, as we've seen now throughout these past 7-8 weeks, has incorporated more motion, a little bit more misdirection. And these are the things that all of us at BKBK have been talking about, like Nathaniel Hackett needs to change things up. And
Right.
it kind of slower than what we'd hoped for. But I think he is progressing in the right direction, or else we wouldn't be 4-3. You know what I'm saying? We just wouldn't be 4-3. Now our offense needs to score more, a lot more, especially in the red zone, because we're not doing well in the red zone at all. And I think that has to do with the poor play of our offensive line. We're not pushing off the ball in runs, and we're kind of porous in pass defense. But we have to commend Zach for what he's doing, staying in the pocket, stepping up in the pocket, bootlegging outside of the tackle box and making plays either via run or making some good throws. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's only got one interception in the past 5 games,
right.
and I think it's 2 fumbles. That's not so bad. You know what I'm saying?
And one of them was with his third center, right? In the last game with the deluge of rain that was coming down as well. So you got to give that,
Right. And when you have this kind of defense that can shut people down, the worst thing you can do is turn the ball over. And he has clearly learned from the mistakes of last year and the years prior in terms of not turning the ball over. Now, I mean, that might cause him to hold the ball longer and maybe try to, spin out of, sacks. But at the end of the day, if you still own the ball and have the ability to punt it away, then you're still taking care of the ball.
You know what, Kerry? I've seen this season so far that he is avoiding those things that you were talking about while also holding the ball a little bit less, not as long,
Right.
So I'm learning on both of those fronts, and I'm seeing him develop more as a quarterback, and he's not having, as many of those errant throws that he would have that like how do you miss that hitch, or how do you miss that swing route, out of the backfield? Like that should be like an elementary throw, just to dump it out to the back in the flats on a little swing route so he can take it up 7 yards and get closer to getting a first down. He's hitting those more, and he's hitting those on rainy days, and it feels like every Sunday there's some kind of precipitation happening over, in East Rutherford, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? I know Brian and I were certainly in it.
Sure.
We were wet top to the bottom. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So, so it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? It was so bad that we left drenched, tweaked out. All righty. And then I walk down, I go through the gates, and then they have these big monitors. You know what I'm saying? And I'm walking out tight. I'm walking out like this. And then I see this dude, and he goes, ah! And I'm like, what? Because I just figured it was like the Giants picked off Zach as he's trying to go down the field. And he was like, yeah, we just kicked the field goal. We're going into overtime. I was like, get out of here. And that's when Brian called me, because I'm taking up my phone. It's wet. I'm trying to call Brian. Brian beats me to it. It was an epic moment, man. I know it kind of went off course there, but I had to relive that again.
Sure.
Yeah, epic.
I mean, so for you, B, it sounds like Hackett is your top storyline.
It has to be. It has to be, because he's in control of what you're seeing out there, and Zach is in control of executing what we see out there. And basically, Nathaniel Hackett needs to make it easy for Zach to execute it, but also hard for the defense to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he needs to play to Zach's strengths, not Aaron Rodgers, while also playing to the strength or what little we have with our Swiss cheese offensive line. So a lot of pressure is on this dude. It's not even Robert Saleh. it kind of is Salah, right? Because it's kind of like being the president of the United States. You know what I'm saying? Like
You're responsible for the whole thing.
Yeah. So you're responsible for everything. So you get all the praise and all the criticism, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's really up to Nathaniel Hackett. Like he's got a lot on his plate, and for the very little that he has, I think he's doing a better job incrementally, slowly as we're going. We're already going into week 8, and I wasn't seeing this happening in week 2. I'm seeing it now, weeks 5, 6, 7. No, when do we have our bye? Week 5 or week 6? Whatever it was. Of course, not including the bye, but progressively getting better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I hope that we see this Monday night against the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? Because high-powered offense. I love our D. It's fantastic. But to act like we're not going to give up a couple points, no, that's not going to happen. We just have to stay in the game, and Nathaniel Hackett has to give Zach stuff to work with. And by the way, Alan Lazard may not play. He hurt his knee in practice, I believe. So he may not play.
Yeah.
Like, our wide receiver room is very thin. We couldn't make any deals or trades by the trade deadline to get, like, I know they made calls to Evans in Tampa Bay. I know they made calls to Adams of the Raiders.
Yep.
And then another big-time receiver they placed the call.
T. Higgins.
Right.
Yeah.
And it all fell through.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, listen, I think, and just to round out the topic as far as what I think the top storyline is, and really, I posed the question in the chat, but I didn't really have an answer at the time. And I really had to then think, for me, easy to say the defense, but I think early on, we weren't playing as well as we are playing right now, right? We've played well against the opposing quarterback that we went after or whatever, or against, but we let up some large plays along the way. I would say the top storyline, and we don't talk about this very often, is Breece Hall. It's Breece.
Yep.
Right? And when you think about our offense and the ability, yes, Zach is not making the mistakes that he made last year. He's not throwing the ball away, and he's more accurate in the short yardage. Garrett Wilson, superstar, right? And he's doing his thing. But when you think about Breece Hall, who's on target for over 1,500 all-purpose yards at this point, right? Who week 7 last year, we lost him for the season, and that basically changed our entire season. We had Zach starting. We didn't have Aaron Rodgers, who was potentially coming back from an Achilles injury, right, in December or whatever, it looks like, because he's out there throwing the ball. So it was Zach or bust, basically, then. And at that point in time, we still were in it, playoff hunt and all that, until AVT went down against Denver, and then Breece went down against Denver. Breece is still here. And this dude, what did he do against the Giants? Our lone touchdown.
Yep.
Right?
Reception. Certainly wasn't fun, but it was a reception that he took on his own.
He took on his own to the house.
Yeah, and took it to the house.
Took it to the house. We had no running game, but what did they do? Throw it to Breece. Just get the ball to Breece in space.
Right.
And you got a potential touchdown every time he touches the rock. And when you think about the 1,500 plus scrimmage yards he has, that was with the governor on early on in his season because he was ACL injury. So, they weren't really running him as much early on in the season. Now governor's off. And he's like, yo, I'm ready to go, baby.
Well, he's clearly taken up more of the snaps from Michael Carter on third down and on obvious passing down.
And Dalvin Cook in general
right.
in the first.
Because he's not a liability in blocking game with regard to, passing. And so now he's become a weapon, right, that you could use behind the sticks, right, that you can use in the passing game.
Yep.
That you can use to fake. Like, he's becoming that all-around running back as opposed to just being a hammer,
Right.
Yeah.
And he can take it to the house at any point, right?
At any point from any point, any position on the field.
Exactly. So if we're going to go anywhere this season, he is going to be a key component to that offense And he's really what makes the offense go.
Yeah.
He is at the end of the day. As long as he stays healthy, even with the bum offensive line and some of the things that we have as issues right now, as long as he stays healthy, we have a shot in order to win these games.
And you know what? To keep him kind of unable to be keyed on as much as they're going to try to key on him, just like how they key on Garrett Wilson, we got to start using our tight ends more. I want to see more of Jeremy Ruckert. Okay, I just see the way that he blocks. He's our best blocking tight end that we have.
Yep,
and can catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? And he's a good athlete. You know,
more,
and I'm not
more
being
of Ruckert, less of Uzama.
He really is a good tight end, and I want to see him get the ball more. I'd like to see him. I mean, our tight end room is good, but I kind of want to see more of him. I feel like Uzama is a little, you know, he gets hurt a little bit, you know, and I feel like Ruckert, you know, keep him in line, off the line, all that, and he's got really good hands. I just want to see more of him, man. I want to see that. I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, my overall point is, you know, you guys make great points. It really is about the pressure, and the story is on Nathaniel Hackett. He's the most important person for this offense, because it's all going to filter through him out onto the field, and then from there it's Zach. And Zach is the quarterback. Zach is like the head coach, you know, as far as all the praise and all the blame, you know? So you have to kind of know football a little bit more like us. You know, yeah, I'm patting ourselves on the back, but it's okay to be able to say, okay, it's the offensive coordinator. You know, he needs to be replaced. It's the D coordinator. You know, what is that D-line coach doing? Who's the O-line coach? These guys can't block a thing. You know what I'm saying? People just usually just blame the head coach and the quarterback, and that's it. But I think, you know, with you know, our perspective and the way that we dig, we can kind of articulate out to, you know, everyone out there that it's like it's a little bit deeper than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't challenge Team BKBK, man. We know more than you. Let's be clear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, just to carry things on a little bit, you know, so we do have a game, right? Monday Night Football, primetime. We're going primetime tomorrow. So, and we're playing a high-powered offense I almost said San Diego, in the LA Chargers.
Yeah. A lot of people make that error. It's all good.
You know, that kind of bothers me, though. But anyway.
Wait, that they're in LA period, or that?
Yeah, that they're in LA. Like, LA just takes, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't know, whatever. You know, remember they had the LA Raiders, then they went back up to Oakland, and then, you know, LA Chargers, you know, whatever. But anyway,
I would like to get to SoFi Stadium, by the way. Now we're talking about it. It does look dope, though.
Oh, yeah?
It does. I mean, you know, outside of looking in, it looks dope. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to hate on them like that. You know, that's cool.
Okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. But, you know, I'm not living in California, so, you know, I'd rather do this out here. Sorry, my Cali people. Anyway, so, yeah, we're playing the Chargers. I think, for us, the Jets, and we were just talking about Nathaniel Hackett and this offense, I think we have to score. We got to score at least 17 points. You know? We got to score at least 17 points.
Got to score more than that. I think more 24, 27. Easily.
We're not scoring 27 points, bro.
I mean,
it's not gonna, I'm being realistic.
I'm just saying, I think we have to.
Not on offense. We could do it like on D, like as far as a pick six or a sack, fumble, safety, whatever, but they could help us out, but we're not there yet to score 27 points. I'm just being realistic, man.
No, I get you. I'm just, so they've scored 25 points a game. That's the Chargers right now. So
okay.
that's where they are in the season. So if you're talking about 17, yes, we can hold them down some, but if we want to win this game, we got to think about 27. And I'm thinking we have to find a way. Now, it's not going to be raining, I think. So, you know, so the ball won't be wet. We have to find a way in order to get and score quickly in some instances, right? Get Brees in space, get Garrett Wilson in space. quick slant, right? When they're calling for an all-out blitz. There's got to be something where we can't just methodically make our way down the field all game. We're just not going to be able to see success against them on Monday night. I just don't see that unless we're able to score 24 or 27 points. We got to score something like that.
I hear you, but I'd venture to say that we have a top 3 defense in the entire NFL, maybe top 2. And I'm looking at the defenses that the Chargers have played. They played, I'll go in order. They played the Dolphins. I feel like our defense is better than the Dolphins. They played the Titans. I feel like our defense is better than the Titans. They played the Vikings, definitely better than the Vikings D. They've played the Raiders, better than the Raiders D. They played the Cowboys. All right, that's a tough D right there. They played the Chargers. I'm sorry, the Chiefs, another tough D.
Yeah.
They played the Bears, a terrible D. Playing us. So with what I just read off to you, it's much easier to average 25 points a game because of the opponents that they face as far as their quality of defense.
Don't disagree with that.
I think.
But if you're saying 17, that means holding them to 14.
Yeah, or it means holding them to 16.
Oh, here we go.
I'll take winning by a point.
All right,
I'll take it.
2 touchdowns
Hey,
and
listen.
safety.
Beat them by a point, guys. Get on the bus. Let's get out of here. Like that kind of a win. I love beating people like that. By the way, by 1 point, and then you just get the guys on the bus and just get out of it.
I hate losing by 1 point, especially in fantasy.
I love that.
Look, the Jets have been underdogs in every game that they have played in,
except for the Giant game
this year.
Except for the Giant game.
No, I don't. I think they were underdogs in the Giant game.
No, we weren't.
Well.
We weren't. Factual.
What, 2? Was it 2 point?
3 maybe 3.
Right.
It wasn't by a lot, but
right.
That was the only game this year that we were slated
favored.
to win. Yes.
Okay. So we've faced the Giants, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Cowboys, and the Bills. All defenses that are significantly better than the Chargers defense.
Right.
So my issue is that we have been weathered a bit, right? So there's opportunity here. There's opportunity to take advantage of their cornerbacks. There's opportunities to take advantage of their defensive line, with the exception of the 2 edge rushers.
Correct.
So if you can sort of mitigate their damage, then you are in good shape to run the ball against this defensive front. So that's about calling a great game as an offensive coordinator, and the best way to beat a team that has a high-powered offense is to keep them off the field. And you do that by running the ball and moving the sticks. And even short passing, including and peppering in that short passing game behind the line of scrimmage, that keeps them honest. And if you don't call a game in that way, then you're going to lose, not because of what your quarterback or your offensive line has done, but because of how you called the game. Mm-hmm. So, I feel pretty good about our defense. We're still lagging in the run defensive category, and we lost a significant piece in Al Woods with the
Achilles. How many
Achilles?
How many Achilles do we have on this team, man? It seems like everyone is popping.
Not enough. Not enough Achilles. We need more Achilles.
Not enough strong ones.
Right.
Jeez.
Right. So, look, we
calf raises in the gym, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I hopefully we get back in the defensive lineman who I liked, who we had to release, put him on the practice squad.
Hector.
No, not Hector. I'm sorry.
Tanzel Smart.
Yeah, Tanzel Smart, who I believe is a disruptor, man. I think he's hungry. So hopefully we can get him back and get him active, and have our linebackers, do what they do, flying all over the field. And we'll see what happens. But I feel good about this game, especially since it's in New York. But again, it's going to be a possession game again. I believe we need to stay on the field as long as possible, and punt when we need to. I think our MVP of the last game was the punter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, my Achilles is kind of sore right now.
Oh
too,
boy,
man.
you better stretch it
What
out.
happened? Yeah, what happened?
I don't
Text,
know.
I was like,
Nothing happened. That's what's odd. It's just woke up and it's like, yo, why's my thing sore, yo? What's going on? What's going on?
jogs? Are you going for jogs in like East Rutherford or something?
It's funny. I need to stay away from there and not do any jogs at all. Not with a Jets uniform on, because it's easily to pop your Achilles when you have a Jets
T-shirt
uniform on.
Don't run in Jersey with that Jets T-shirt.
Oh boy.
Forget that. I mean, I think that for the Jets, like I said, I have a lot of faith in our defense. Sometimes throughout the game, because they're so good, we get frustrated with them quick because sometimes it's like a bend but don't break. And then next thing you know, it's like a big sack by Huff or, a pick and this and that. And then by the end of the game, like with like 2 minutes left, it's like, oh, snap. The opposing team only has like 10 points,
And they didn't score in the second half.
Right, So we play very good second half defense, which is the complete reciprocal of what we've seen in the past. So that's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to commend our defensive coordinator and Robert Saleh as well. But like I said, we just need to just keep chopping the wood when it comes to the offense. I know that Hackett is dealing with a lot, especially with the turnstile. For the offensive line, he can't catch a break. It's so hard to get a free agent or trade for an offensive lineman. It's like every team in the league now needs offensive linemen.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to get anything done at the trade deadline with offensive linemen. It's just we weren't, right? Everybody needs them. Depth pieces, starters, obviously. Injuries occur by this time of the year and all of that kind of stuff as well,
Collins
just like us. Huh?
La'el Collins is still out there, free agent wise. I wonder what happened to him because I know we brought him in.
Well, if nobody else has signed him, then that gives you a clue as to what's going on too.
Well, and where is he starting ultimately? If I'm him, I want to be a starter, right? And so that being the case, you got Dwayne Brown who's coming back, and then you got Mekhi Becton there. I don't think we had a position where he was going to be a starter. So I think it's more so that than anything else at this point.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right, and they were looking at him just in case if they felt like Dwayne Brown wasn't going to come back, and when it was evident that he had intentions on coming back and he was making progress, I think they eased up on it. Not to mention the fact that again, a lot of other teams passed on him. The Giants looked at him, and I believe a couple of West Coast teams looked at him as well. So there weren't a whole lot of options out there with regard to guards that were on the couch, so to speak.
He passed on them because he makes good money. He could have passed on them. It could have been mutual, or maybe it could have been leaning towards him like, no, I'm not signing, because whenever you sign when the season starts, I believe, your money's no longer guaranteed or doesn't have to be guaranteed. So you're basically playing on a per game basis.
Yeah.
So he's a big name. I think he's a reputable offensive tackle. Really good offensive tackle. Made a name for himself in Dallas. And I'm just wondering, like, I don't know if
they picked up Sewell, right? Is that who they picked up? Who did the Jets pick up?
Nah, I forgot the guy's name.
Not Sewell. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'll look him up. But
right.
I would also
he was the 2022 starter.
And I would also add to the fact that he was playing for the Bengals, which is a really good team, right? And so how do you go from the Bengals to the Giants? Why do you want to play for them? If it's not about money, then you don't want to play for the Giants because they stink.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, there were other options. There are other teams that were looking at him as well, and they passed. Yeah. So, again, it could have been that he just wasn't ready. He physically wasn't ready. I mean, wasn't he another Achilles injury? Wasn't that where he was coming back from? He's either Achilles or ACL. It was one of the other.
La'el Collins was coming back from the ACL.
There you go, ACL. Right. So he might not have been ready. Might not have felt like he was ready.
Too. I mean,
and I think the option that the Jets picked was to pick a guard that has experience playing in the AFC East, and is coming off a 2022, well, coming off the couch, but coming up a 2022 year in which he started some games.
Roger Saffold,
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Saffold. I like that pick. I like that pickup.
Yep. Not bad.
We'll see.
I would love for him to be available this week, but I doubt it. I mean, coming like you said, coming off the bench.
Yeah. There's being in shape, and then there's being in game shape.
Right.
So
Totally.
Right.
Be conditioned up a little bit, put the pads on, you know what I'm saying, and get banged up a little bit in practice. Feel that before being in true football condition, So we'll see. So then, Brian, you were saying what the Jets need to do is score 24 to 27 points.
Yep.
What do the Jets need to do to beat the Chargers, in your opinion?
And turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Well, so you're thinking like a lower scoring game, Kerry, as long as we win the turnover battle? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying yes, pretty much. Like lowest scoring game, like 21-17 kind of thing.
Well, listen, we have to third down.
Our defense dominates.
Third down, right? That's on offense and defense.
Yeah.
We have to convert on third down on offense, keep the ball away from them because they are high powered. Got Eckler, right? You got Allen. They have the ability to score at any point in time. So we have to keep the ball in the offense's hands, and that's converting on third down, keep drives alive, and also get them off the field on third downs, right? And
I'm sorry on you, B.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hold that right there. I don't want to see them too much in our red zone because they have that big 6'8" tight end in Parham who's very dangerous. But go ahead.
Yeah. And the last thing I was saying, this is based on the Giants game. We can't beat ourselves. Can't have the penalties. Can't have, just the penalties that we saw on the defensive side of the ball against the Giants. It was like we gave them
bonehead.
Yeah, bonehead
penalties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't do that again.
Especially,
Margin for
like
error
said,
is thin.
The rushing of the passer ones are just, they're back.
Late hit, roughing the, man, definitely. Mekhi Becton had one that was, he just pushed the other player, whatever else, the defensive lineman after the play. You just knew you knew you were going to get the foul on that one, right?
That's just undisciplined.
JJ had one against the quarterback and stuff as well. Quincy had two, as well, right? Just late hits. We gotta play smart football. We can't beat ourselves. So that to me is the recipe for success. We gotta score more points on offense and third downs. Don't beat ourselves.
Yep, and feed Brees and create an offense or put out an offense where we can at least just kind of mix and match things so that Zach can have a comfortable feel for what he's doing, and be able to execute because he's only got one receiver because everyone is either gone or hurt right now. Hopefully Lazard plays. And, and you know what else too? Dalvin, can you stop pity patting in the hole and hit the hole harder? So that when Brees has a breather, maybe he can take a second breather. We can just have one drive with you where we kind of have you crossing that yellow line that you see on TV. It's not real life, of course, but
yeah, get a first down, dude. Stop pity patting. Yeah.
First down for once. I don't think he's gotten one first down yet. I don't know. So that Brees can come in fresh, just like how our D line is always fresh making plays. Come on, Dalvin, you got to help us out, bro.
Right. I agree.
He's not hitting on what he should be hitting on. That's not happening. So I don't know. So anyway, listen. I think we've talked about that. We've already talked about as far as what the conversation should be focused on. I know I've been heavy Nathaniel Hackett. I've already talked about what we should be doing as far as that's concerned and what he should be doing. and also our projections onto this Monday night game and what needs to happen. Brian and Kerry have already expressed their feelings on that too. But I want to talk about something that we haven't spoken about in a while. And what is it? The New York Knicks.
The New York Knicks. Yeah.
So
Right.
the season started with the Knicks. We've gotten a number of games, or they've gotten a number of games under their belt.
True.
You know, I'm looking at the screen, guys and girls at home, looking at the screen. I'm trying to read faces. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like, we all love the Knicks, but Kerry, like, I can read his face more. Like, he gets tight. He gets a little bit tight, you know. So it looks like he's got that face on, like he wants to fight somebody sometimes.
If I could do a close up, I would.
Right. He's shaking his head.
Stop talking. Let's just get to it, man. This is.
So you know what? I'm not even gonna have you start, Kerry. I want Brian, your brother, kind of talk about it, to introduce you in,
right,
and what he's seeing on your face. Because Brian, you know him better than I do, even though we all grew up together. Like, go ahead, B.
Yeah. So what I think he's thinking is that Randall is played horribly now, right? And he has. And he's probably got some stats, and I didn't look them up right now because they're really bad. Where, dude, if you're shooting below 40% in regular field goals, right? Overall field goal percentage, and you're shooting below 28% in 3-point shooting, you're not good. Like you're not good. I don't care if you're playing Pee Wee, you're playing like your Lutheran league. If you're playing and you're just playing, I don't know, with your corporation or something like that, your company, and you're shooting 25% from 3, you just stop shooting. You know what I mean? We're just gonna run you to the bench. And it's really put us in a position where now it was bad when Jalen Brunson was playing poorly as well on top of, but he started to come out of his funk. He scored 40-something points the other day against Milwaukee. He looked every bit of the player that ended the year as the Knicks' best player. So you have that as well. But if I could trade Randall for a bag of Skittles right now and not take any salary back, I'd jump all over it at this point. I don't like how if his offense isn't working that he doesn't play defense and he doesn't hustle back at all. And then he looks around at other players like, oh, dude, why you ain't make the play? Because you were supposed to make the play.
He loses his wig way too quick.
Way too quick, man. And so I think eventually, and this is the optimistic piece coming around, he's going to turn it around and not play as bad. But it seems like this every other year, cadence is what he's on. All-Pro last year, All-NBA. And now this year, just coming out and laying an egg. And we can't afford it. We don't have enough talent at the top and the bottom in order to offensively in order to make that happen. The only thing that I really like, again, Brunson, RJ Barrett looks like he was ready to take the next step. Then he had a knee injury, so we'll see him when he comes back. So I think he would.
How long do you expect him to be out for?
They haven't really. I think it's game to game, right?
Yeah, it's day to day.
Day to day, right? So we'll see if he ends up coming back and how soon he does come back full throttle. But in the first couple of games, he looked like our best player and efficient on offense too, right? Shooting threes at a good clip percentage wise, and finishing at the rim, all those other things. He takes the next step, and Brunson's there, and then you have Randall taking on the number 3 spot. I think it only benefits us, but you have to be a strong number 3. Right? You can't. He's averaging less than 20 points. He averaged like 25 points last year. He's averaging like, I don't know, 15, 16 points. So he's got to play better. Otherwise, we're not going to go anywhere. We just don't have enough talent in order to make up for what we're missing there. And he got to help us close out games at the end of the day as well. So I still think the Knicks will end up in the playoffs this year. I still think we're a very scrappy team. Offensive rebound wise, we're doing our thing as well. But And with R.J. Barrett out right now, we're exposed because we don't have another scorer in the starting lineup. So we always go in. We end up at the end of the first quarter down points because we're not scoring enough on offense. We just don't have enough. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'll kick it over to Kerry. I'm sure he's going to fill in the blanks on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Randall, and you have what you consider to be a superstar on your team, but he's not playing like one. And to me, a superstar is, sort of, and you mentioned it, sort of the player that tries to, even when they don't have their best, they're giving you their best. But the problem with Randall is that even when he doesn't have his best, he pouts, right? And that's not conducive to being a champion in this league. Again, against New Orleans, 4 of 15 regular field goals, 0 of 5 3-point field goals. Against Cleveland, 5 of 14, 2 of 5. Against Cleveland the next day, 3 of 15, 0 of 6.
Sheesh.
Right? Against the Bucks just a couple of days ago, 5 of 20 and 1 of 9.
Dude.
And what upset me the most about that game is that, he hit a couple of shots at the end of the game, but when he felt like, or when he made a bad play, he would just pout. His shoulders would drop, and he wouldn't run back down the court. And that's what I can't stand the most. Look, we have a team that we're playing 5-on-4 every night because Mitchell Robinson cannot score. Okay, he can't score. So in instances where you're missing R.J. Barrett, which is now it's 3-on-5 because you have Josh Hart in there, who's not a shooter.
No. Right?
Who's not he's a scorer, but he's not a shooter. Right. But then you still start Mitchell Robinson. In my opinion, you got to start Hartenstein in that scenario. In fact, I believe Mitchell Robinson should be coming off the bench anyway. He should be doing, pick and rolls against the second team, running up and down the court with RJ Barrett running the second team, but with Quickly, and they just go up and go up and down to me. But again, you can't win in this league with 5-on-4, especially when you have your superstar who doesn't want to give you your best when he doesn't have his.
Well, my thing is with Mitch, right, in the offensive piece, why are they not hitting him with the lobs anymore, man? It's the pick and roll and have him run towards the rim and then throw it up to him.
Because he's just doing picks. He's not rolling.
Well,
and you can watch the game. He's like when you're playing basketball, at the church league, and all the guy wants to do is pick, but he ain't never rolling. So why are you just setting the pick? Because we just gonna stay with the dude that you setting the pick for anyway. So it's gonna be a double team every time.
Well, I think philosophically there has to be something that has changed because that was part of our offense. He was rim running.
How long ago?
Last year. I felt like
not so much. I don't think so much. He was to me, he was just a defensive guy who was getting offensive rebounds. But that hasn't happened here. So my thing to that point, the point that I'm making with regard to Randall is, look, I get the whole the rebounding stats, but they're hollow unless they are heavy on the offensive side because that shows the hustle. The defensive rebounders is you just position yourself. You're waiting for it to drop in your pocket. So no, I'm not going to listen to. Well, he's got he's high on the rebound list. I don't care about that. What I see is Mitchell Robinson, yes, on the offensive rebound board, he is a problem.
He's a monster,
right? He's a monster. But again, he's not putting him back up anyway either.
I got a question for you, Kerry.
Yeah.
So with all that you said, let me propose this to you and let me know if you agree or not. Would you do, say, like a Mitch, a Randall, and like a second-round pick
to Minnesota
for the Big Cat?
No. And here's why. Because he hasn't proven that he's a winner.
He who? Big Cat?
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns? Okay.
Karl Anthony Towns has not proven to me that he's a winner and that would thrive in the New York market to me. I feel like Randall plays every day. And although I feel like he's a baby at times, I feel like he's
in the lineup.
He's on the court. He's he's in the lineup. Right. And he handles maybe not the best, but he's chosen to be here. Right. He wants to smoke. Right now, he want to smoke? He wants to smoke. Again, I don't think that he responds, well to to criticism, right? But I think that he loves being here. I think he wants to be a Knick. Now, I just question, his abilities to perform, at the high level that we expect him to, That's what I question. And is Cat going to give me that? I don't know. Does he take balls away from Mitchell Robinson in terms of space? Does he eat the space against with Mitchell? There's the same space that Mitchell Robinson would be occupying, maybe. But I also don't want Big Cat sitting out on the perimeter. You know what I'm saying? If that's what he wants to do is take threes. So I'm not sure how it fits. Well, especially with, and again, I'm more so, I don't trust, and this is hard to say, I don't trust Tibbs' ability to utilize Cat the way I think he would be successful here in this system.
Well, I mean, I think you'd have to use him, and Tibbs would have to use him somewhat in a proper way. My problem is you got to sign Karl Anthony Towns to a deal after this year because he's a free agent after 2023, 2024.
Right. And I'm okay with that.
Well, you're looking at $50 million. His deal is going to be estimated $50 million.
And you're going to have to re-up Brunson.
Okay, well, we're not there yet.
Right. But I get that. But I'm saying we're going to be there. So there's going to be significant overlap.
That's the convergence of the dollars. And so really for me, I'd like to get, if I could do a one-for-one.
I don't care about the dollars. I don't care about the dollars.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Because of the fact that it's a soft cap, right? It's a soft cap. You just have to pay a luxury tax, right? But if you're good, Dolan's got the pockets. That's not an issue for us. If it was the NFL and we were talking about under these same constructs, then I would absolutely agree with you, right? But if we're gonna win, if we're gonna be third in the East, and we're gonna sit there at third in the East and be potential NBA or the Eastern Conference champions, who cares about the money if they're gonna pay it?
Sure. But I get
because yes, Randall is economical, right? But he ain't performing the way we want.
And listen, I'm not. I'm not saying that
because if you look at his contract, he is economical,
But to your point, he's in the lineup, right? So I mean, paying somebody $50 million and he only plays 2/3 of the games. How is he really helping you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the availability, right? We always talk about that, right? And then, again, if you're talking about trying to make another move in order to improve your roster, because even if we bring Big Cat in here, is he making us that much better, considering he only plays 2/3 of the games, and he's going to command a $50 million contract before we have to pay Brunson on top of that, and everything else that we're trying to do, that's where it becomes tough for me, right? With Big Cat, I don't know how many more games are we going to get in the win column by bringing Cat in?
So then, because I'm going to be honest and I'll admit it. You guys have watched a lot more basketball than I have this season thus far. I'm still in my football mode, but so then let's just say Big Cat is, since we've just kind of flushed it out a little bit, not really in the plans as far as making a move for him that would make immediate sense. Who's there?
To me,
who's in your mind?
To me, you go back at Donovan Mitchell, and you make that trade. And you know what I also do? I get a Kelly Olynyk to play power forward for me, who's now a stretch 4, who can shoot threes, who can rebound, who's not going to pout, right? He's going to play defense and all that kind of stuff as well.
Where do you get him from? I mean, again, so you're talking about letting go Randall?
Oh, yeah. I'm letting him go like,
what are you talking about doing that? Yeah. That's not a remedy now, though.
Okay. Well,
that's not a remedy now.
What's not a remedy? Because Donovan Mitchell's not going to sign his contract. So at this point in time, at the trade deadline, it's going to be another conversation.
And he wants to come here. And that conversation would be what?
That he does not want to sign the contract. He wants to play for the Knicks. That's
The Jersey boy.
right. He's not Jersey. He's a New York guy. Westchester.
Yeah, he's Westchester.
Westchester. Yeah, all day.
His
So
dad worked for the Mets.
so think
Works
about,
for the Mets.
you got Brunson and you got Donovan Mitchell as your point guard, and again, you're gonna get killed on defense.
You're gonna get smashed on defense. That's why you better have a big,
But
like Mitchell Robinson, like you said. Yeah.
But I mean, but again, you got 60 points at any given night coming from your guards, right? And efficient too. So I like that being. I know what I have in offensively in those two players. I like that, and you have Grimes play the 3, defensive guy. You know what I mean? So he'll play the best player.
And RJ is defensively deficient too.
Well, RJ might not be on your team because you got to trade somebody out. I'd rather trade Randall out, right, and then get him in. But that to me,
so actually in that scenario, RJ's gone.
Right, RJ's gone. So, but to me, you got to make some moves. I'm with Charles
Yeah, you
Barkley
gotta
on
make
this.
moves. You gotta
You
make
got to
moves.
make some moves. The way
But it's
your
not- for me, it's
roster
not Cat.
is currently constructed, I don't think Cat is the answer, but I think Donovan Mitchell could be your answer. And I think you protect them with the defense that we have in the middle. They don't need our center, right? So you keep Mitch, right? You keep your battery at 5. And then you bring in like a Kelly Olynyk who's, could do something, a big who can come off the bench and shoot threes and be your stretch 4. Like a poor man's Porzingis, if you will. And you rock and roll with that, to me. Because then Mitchell's going to come with the offense. It's consistent, efficient offense.
He said he's not resigning his contract.
If he wanted to sign, it'd be signed already.
Yeah.
Right? And he wants to come here. So if you have all of that in your recipe and you sitting there, you cooking it up, it's like, all right, now he's a year closer to being a free agent, so you pay less for him.
You ain't gonna get him on a bargain.
It's not gonna be like a super bargain,
No.
but you're gonna pay less for him, right?
Ain't gonna no bargain.
I mean, you're gonna pay less than what Cleveland paid for him, because again, he had multiple years on the contract at that point in time.
Yeah.
That old.
All right.
It's a thought.
Yeah, some good thoughts. I mean, I'm not going to chime in because I haven't been watching as much this season, but the back and forth between you two to kind of just refine it up a little bit. It makes a lot of sense. Listen, just going back off of last year, like I do like Randall, but I mean, like if we could trade him up for, say, what you guys basically shot down my proposition for the big cat.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, that Dallas losing just really threw us totally off.
Say that again, Kerry?
That Dallas, us losing the pick.
Yeah,
Dallas really just threw us off. Like we could have had, and I think they traded that pick away or traded down, and somebody else picked. And I feel like the guy that they picked, whoever they traded the pick to, is playing well. And I got to do the research, but I think he's doing well.
The guy Dallas picked is playing well. So I mean, but again, you said they traded back, but
Right.
But listen, we have to go back to that. We have draft picks, so we have to go out there, and we can't just trade away draft picks in order to open up cap space. We have to actually reinfuse talent into the bottom of this roster and then develop those folks. There's opportunities to win in the draft, man. We got to do it.
Yeah, it's time. Let's do it, man. All right, and you know what it's time for?
Yeesh.
Time for us to wrap things up. But before we do that, what we're going to do is make a prediction. Scores included for this Monday night Jets versus Chargers game. We're playing this game at home, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Ooh, all right.
Woo-hoo.
Monday Night Football in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Jets versus Chargers. You know what? I'm going to take this one first, if you guys don't mind.
Handle that. Take that.
I think it's going to be – I'm going to predict – because, I've been in love with this number 17 during this episode, right? The Jets score 17. The Chargers score 15. And the Jets win in a very close game, tightly contested game. And I think what's going to happen is somehow the Jets, through our defense, we kind of bottleneck them up a little bit. The Chargers score a touchdown late in the game. They go for 2, right? They go for 2. They get the 2, which gives them 15 instead of 14 points. All righty. And then there's enough time left on the clock. Our offense kind of stagnates, 3 and out. We punt the ball to them, and there's like a minute and 3 seconds left. And they have to get, 47 seconds left. Forget that.
What are you talking about, bro?
Right. Like, what is you talking about?
And they have to get
you talking about, son?
They have to get to like the 40-yard line for a chance for a kick. Our 40-yard line, not theirs. And then they don't do it because they would get the kick and then win by 1 point. But we end up winning by 2 points. 17-15 Jets win at home, and we become 5-3, and we become legit contenders by the halfway point of the season.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying,
brother. All right, so I'm gonna say a couple things because that was a lot, and this guy has a heck of an imagination.
You made 100% sense.
Not a lot of dollars, but a lot of sense. Anyway, so what I'm gonna say, the Miami Dolphins are frauds. So that's the first thing.
Yeah, they do.
That earlier.
It's
So just wanted to say that. And I think the Jets win 24-17. That we hold them down. That we score extra. Our average offensive output is 18 points. I think we put up 24. And I think we hold them back a touchdown off of what they normally score. So they put up 17. And it's closer than what it actually ends up being as far as the actual game is concerned. So I don't think this is something that all of a sudden it looks like, no, they come back, blah, 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 and nail biter until the end. I think going into the fourth quarter, we have command of this game, and we just keep them, keep sacking them, doing what we have to do. They score a late touchdown, and I think we end up 24-17. Winners.
Yeah, I'm not certain what's going to go on here.
Wow, you a Jets fan or what?
I am an absolute Jets fan. I do think that our defense will have a dominant showing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very concerned about this offensive line and its ability to protect the quarterback and our inability to run the ball as well. So I think that we're going to pull it out, but I think it's going to be more so because our defense has a defensive touchdown, and I think it ends up being 21-17.
Okay. All right. Not too far off. We all in the pocket.
That's closer to my score. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why it's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Dang it. Jeez.
Yours was terrible, B, because we're not scoring 24 points.
Listen, I have faith in Zach. This is the game to me.
You've never had faith in Zach. Get out of here. You have faith in Zach.
In this game, clown, relax. Jeez.
Bro.
I have faith that Zach at this point is still ascending, and without all the rain and with a center that can actually get him the ball consistently, right, just on the snap.
Listen, Millie
Vanilli. He's going to be able to make it happen.
Listen, Millie Vanilli, quit blaming it on the rain.
Millie Vanilli.
Yeah, I went there with that.
Did you?
Blame it on the rain. Yeah. Blame it.
God.
Sorry.
Only you.
I just aged out.
Only you.
Yeah, anyway. All right, let me read this thing because I can't handle this one. All right, whatever. That was corny dad joke 101.
Millie Vanilli, what are you, like 50 or something?
Wasn't even that.
Yeah, of course.
Be better.
I noticed only one person laughing.
And he's just laughing out of just sheer pity. This pity laugh.
All right, hey everybody, it's funny. Thanks for watching another episode of the BKBK podcast. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide, and the New York Jets reign supreme. So keep watching us. You can find us on Facebook on our BKBK podcast fan page. Twitter on at BKBK Podcast.
Isn't it X now? It's not even Twitter.
Yeah, it's X.
Right, called X, Twitter. X, formerly known as Twitter.
Right.
Yep. And IG at BKBK Podcast, as well as on YouTube. Just type in BKBK Podcast. Guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, generate more interest on YouTube. We're up there. And then, you guys can just watch us more. And if you can't watch us, you can just listen to us on iTunes. So go to bkbkpodcast.podomatic.com. All right, guys and girls. So That's it. Let's go Jets this Monday night, all right?
Yeah.
Let's BKBK.
Let's
and, for everything, let's go Baldwin Bruins because that's what raised us, right? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go next too. You.